Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. Today we have our 2025 NFL quarterback tier list. I think I'm going to be making my tier list based on how I think that they're going to do for next season. So it is going to get a little bit interesting. Let's get rid of this real quick. But here are our tiers for today's video. At the S tier we have our cream of the crop, superstar quarterbacks, the best in the league. At our A tier, we have the very solid starters that have breakout potential. Our B tier is our Pro Bowl fillers, like the guys that make the Pro Bowl that don't necessarily deserve to. We all know all those quarterbacks. Our C tier is the mid starters. Our D tier is the solid backups or play starters. And our F tier is okay backups. First quarterback here is Jalen Hurts, reigning Super Bowl champion. He's going to go in the A tier. He's a solid starter. He's not in this tier though, quite yet. I think he could break out. Like I said, this tier is the breakout potential tier, but he's not quite up at the S tier yet. I don't think he will get there this season because that's the prestigious tier. Everyone knows who's up there. Same thing with Jaden Daniels. I am going to put him ahead of Hurts because I do think that he is going to be the best quarterback in the NFC East next season. I think that the Commanders, if they do keep Terry McLaurin, are going to be a very sneaky Super Bowl contender. And he's just a really good quarterback. I mean, he showed off a great arm last year in his rookie season, threw for a lot of yards, was a very accurate quarterback, and didn't have many turnover issues. I think he has a very good future ahead of him. Next up, we have Dak Prescott. He's also going to go in the A tier, but he's going to be at the bottom of our A tier here. He was once close to this S tier a few seasons ago when he was almost the MVP of the league, but he's fallen off a little bit. His receiving core has teetered between getting better and getting worse. I think currently it is better now that they got George Pickens, but still could be a little bit better. Let's move the camera a little bit. The Cowboys are kind of a weird team. They're in a weird spot. If Micah Parsons gets traded, that team might not even make the playoffs next season. And the receiving core is not amazing. I do think Dak will have a decent year, though. He'll definitely be a contender to be on that one of those all-pro teams or be a Pro Bowler. Next up, we have Joe Milton, I believe. He's a solid backup. I had really high expectations for him, but then yesterday, or 2 days ago, I guess it was, in the Cowboys preseason game against the Rams, he was just not good. He had a lot of missed passes, threw a couple of interceptions, and he just didn't look like he was ready to be in that role yet. I still think that with the athleticism and the arm strength, he has a lot of potential in his career, but I think it's going to take him a little bit longer than people thought to be a starting caliber quarterback. Next up, we have Russell Wilson. I am going to put him in the Pro Bowl fillers tier because I think he can be a Pro Bowler this year. He has some decent wide receivers. Malik Nabers is the main one. They don't have that good of a running game with Tyrone Tracy and Cam Skattebo right now, so I think that he could be a guy that throws a lot of passes next season. It's really just going to depend on if he lasts the entire season as the starting quarterback or if he gets hurt and Dart takes over or they put in Tommy DeVito or Jameis Winston or Russell Wilson struggles. But I think he should be a solid Pro Bowl level quarterback next season. Next up, I don't know who that is just based off the picture, and then I think this is Anthony Richardson. Anthony Richardson is going to go in this tier, but definitely better than Joe Milton. He has been a solid starter so far in his career, but I feel like he's better as a temporary starter, or as this tier calls it, a place starter. He's not a guy that's going to be a franchise quarterback, I don't think. He's kind of past that, but I feel like he can carve out a really nice career as like a Tyrod Taylor role where he's bouncing around, getting some starting jobs, and then also taking some backup roles, but coming in and being the main backup every single place he's at. It wouldn't be a bad career for Anthony Richardson. I mean, he has the athleticism just like Tyrod Taylor. He has a decent arm, but the accuracy is definitely lacking a little bit. Next up, we have Bryce Young. Bryce Young, for next season, I think he could be a Pro Bowler. I think I'm going to put him below Russell Wilson because I think he's at the bottom of this Pro Bowl tier. But he definitely could be a Pro Bowler with the new scheme with Dave Canales. They have good wide receiver core for next season with Adam Thielen and Laviska Shenault, I think, is still there. Xavier Legette, and then Tet McMillan. McMillan's going to have a really good year, I think. so that could carry Bryce Young. He has a new deep threat. And I think that with the new quarterbacks coach, or the new head coach, I guess he is, Dave Canales, I think he could really help Bryce Young. I mean, there's been all the stories that he helped out Baker, he helped out Geno, I think. I think Bryce Young could be the next one that he really develops into a star. Next up, we have Andy Dalton. He was horrible in their last preseason game. I still feel like he could be a starter if he needed to be, but he's not someone that a team is going to sign to be the main starter. And I don't even think he's up here with these two anymore. He's really old. He's kind of washed. Baker Mayfield is next. We just talked about him with that Dave Canales scheme. I think he is the top Pro Bowl level quarterback. Once all these guys opt out, that's what this tier basically is. The guys that they're going to pick up next. And there's no Tyler Huntleys no more. There is a bunch of really good quarterbacks in the league, and I think once all these guys opt out, Baker would definitely be the first choice. He's got a really solid receiving core with Emeka Egbuka. Then they have Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. They're two really long-tenured wide receivers who are both really good Buccaneers all-time legends. I think Baker's going to have a really good year this year. Next up we have, I believe, Michael Penix. Penix is okay. I think for next year he'll just be a mid-starter. I don't think he's going to be a Pro Bowler yet. I am a big Penix fan. I've been a fan of his since he was at Indiana. But I don't think he showed quite enough last year to be a breakout guy that becomes a Pro Bowler, and that's okay because he doesn't have to yet. The Falcons have a really good receiving core. They have a really, really good run game with Tyler Algier and Bijan Robinson. I don't think he'll have to be a superstar quite yet. And even if he isn't, they have Kirk Cousins down here, who I think still is a mid-starter. He could even be ahead of Penix in this tier. I know he did struggle a lot with the Falcons last year, but he's still Kirk Cousins, a guy that is one of the better all-time quarterbacks in the league right now, in my opinion. I am kind of a Kirk Cousins fan, but still, I feel like he was one of the top 10 quarterbacks in the league at one point, and he's not completely washed yet like Andy Dalton is. I think a team could still use him as the starter. Next up, we have Spencer Rattler, I believe. Yeah, that's definitely Spencer Rattler. He's an okay backup. I think he did start a few games last year, and he was decent, but I don't think he's a guy that a team could place in the starting role for more than a week or two. I feel like if they did, it would be definitely just because of an injury reason. He's never, I don't think, going to be a go-to starting quarterback in the NFL. Next up, I think that might be Tyler Shuck because it's right next to Spencer Rattler, so it makes sense. So we're going to call this Tyler Shuck. I think for now, he's going to be in the okay backup tier. He didn't show enough in college for me to believe that he can be a solid starter yet. And the Saints are just going to be horrible next year. And everyone knows that. Saints fans know that. Saints head coach knows that. I don't even know who their head coach is anymore. Oh, it's Kellen Moore. Yeah, they're not going to be good next year. Kellen Moore might be another one-and-done coach. And that team doesn't have any future now that Derek Carr retired. Or any direction, I should say. Alvin Kamara's old. They don't have a real starting quarterback. And their wide receivers they don't have any superstar, especially with Chris Olave's concussion history, which is kind of another reason why Shuck I don't think he's going to have a good season if Olave misses any time. If Olave plays and he plays well, I think Shuck could be up here at the bottom of this tier, but for now he's going to be in this tier with these guys. Next up we have Jared Goff. He's one of my favorite players in the NFL. I think he's really good, and I do think that he is above Jalen Hurts right now. Just a solid quarterback. Pocket passer who has a great arm and is a very accurate quarterback. He's got great receivers, some of the best in the entire league, plus a top 5 receiving back in the entire league. He's got everything he needs to be successful. A great coach. I know they did just lose offensive coordinator Ben Johnson, but I don't think that that's actually going to affect them that much with how much talent they have on the roster. I think Goff is still going to have a very good season. He's not one of these breakout guys just because of his age, but I think he's going to be a very good starter next year. Caleb Williams, I don't think he's going to get Pro Bowl level yet, but I think he is going to be the best player in C tier as a mid-starter. In my eyes, he's more of a project guy. I mean, I know he was the first overall pick, and he has the talent, but I feel like it's going to take him a little bit longer than some people thought for him to really become a star quarterback in the NFL. I think one day he could be up here. He's got the traits, he's got the talent, but it's definitely going to take him a little bit longer than it will for a guy like Jaden Daniels. I do think he was still the better draft pick. Next up, we have Jordan Love. I'm going to put him at the bottom of this tier. He's not up here with these four, but he's got a very good receiving core that's got very good depth. If anyone ever goes down, they have 10 backups. And he's just a really good, accurate quarterback. And he can also scramble, get on the move. I feel like he's just the guy for Green Bay for the next 10 years. He doesn't have to be a superstar. They don't necessarily need him to be a superstar. But if he's just in this solid starter tier, the Packers will be really good with him. Malik Willis is next. I think he could be a mid-starter. I don't think he's down here right now. I think he's past Anthony Richardson. He started a few games for the Packers last year, and he was really good. He's got great athleticism. He's still got a decent arm. He's definitely inconsistent, but he's still a really young quarterback. I think he's only going into year number 3 or 4. I think he's still pretty solid, and he could still be a starter for a couple teams in the league. Next up, we have Sam Howell and McCarthy, I think. J.J. McCarthy, I think he could be a Pro Bowler. I don't think I'm going to put him in that tier just to be safe. I want to look back on this next year and completely regret it. But I think he could be a mid-starter for sure. I don't think he's going to get benched for Sam Howell. I think he's going to be the Vikings franchise quarterback. And I think he's going to do well in that role. He's shown a lot of good things so far in college. In preseason this year, he's had a great preseason. He's turned into a really good pocket thrower. And I think he could be the third best quarterback out of that class in the future. It's going to be hard to pass up Bo Nix, but I think Bo Nix might already be at his ceiling with his age. I don't know. We're going to have to see what JJ can do, but he's got a great receiving core with Jordan Addison and Justin Jefferson, so it shouldn't be that hard for him. Sam Howell's next. He's at the top of this tier. I mean, he had that amazing season with Washington just a few years ago. Last year he was in Seattle. He did struggle a bit when he played, but I still think he could be a solid play starter in the NFL. And a team wouldn't mind starting him for a week or two if their quarterback gets hurt. He could take over for McCarthy if McCarthy's struggling and lead the Vikings to 3 wins, I feel like. Especially if he's throwing to Justin Jefferson. Kyler Murray's next. I'm going to put him in the very top of the Pro Bowl fillers tier. He's not necessarily a Pro Bowl filler. He's a guy that will make the Pro Bowl, I think. But he's not quite up here yet. I think he's going to have a much better year, and he's going to finally get to kind of the potential that he hit before he tore his ACL. But I still think that he is going to have some struggles, some turnover issues, and then his height's definitely still going to hurt him a bit. He's not going to be a perfect quarterback, but I don't think he's going to struggle as much anymore. I feel like he's at the point where he's getting to his peak finally. I know he's like 29 years old, but I still do believe in Kyler Murray. Next up, I have no idea who this guy is. I think that's Jackson Dart, but I don't know who that is, so we're going to have to come back to that. Brock Purdy's next. He's at the very top of this tier. These 3 are all guys that I expect to make the Pro Bowl next year and maybe beat out these 2. These 3 guys are pretty good quarterbacks. I still think Brock Purdy might be a system quarterback. I am one of the people that does believe that. And we may see him struggle next year with no Deebo Samuel, inconsistent Brandon Ayuk, who's had a lot of drama the last year, and then George Kittle's up there in age. We could see Purdy take a step back, but I do expect him to stay in this Pro Bowl tier. I don't think he'll fall back that much. I actually do want to move Baker to the top of this tier just because the receiving talent he has. He should have an amazing year. I don't know if he will, but he definitely should. I am still a Baker believer. Next up, we have Sam Darnold, I believe. I think he's going to have another great season. I do believe in Sam Darnold. He had just such a good season last year that I can't believe someone that tells me he's not destined for a total career revitalization. I think he's a really good quarterback. I feel like he is kind of more of a system player, but I do kind of like the system he's coming to in Seattle. He has some really good wide receivers with JSN and Cooper Kupp. I think Sam Darnold has no reason to not be a star next year, especially with what he did in Minnesota last year. I feel like he could struggle. He definitely could go back to this tier, but I don't think he's going to get benched. I think at the worst, he's going to be in this tier, which is definitely makes him overpaid, but I feel like he's a solid guy. I feel like Minnesota is kind of crazy for not bringing him back on a one-year deal. But that's just me. Matthew Stafford, I feel like Jaden Daniels passed him, but I still definitely think he's in this tier. He's one of the better quarterbacks in the NFL. I know he's up there in age, but I would still trust him to lead my team. Next up, I think that's like Jimmy Garoppolo, maybe. Jimmy G is going to go in this okay backup tier. He's kind of fallen off like what happened to Andy Dalton. He was once at greatness where he led the 49ers to the Super Bowl, but he's not up there anymore. Mahomes is cream of the crop. He's going to be at the bottom of this tier just because he had struggles last year, but I do expect him to come back stronger than ever, and the Chiefs might win another Super Bowl, but we got to see. Don't know who that is. We're going to have to come back to him. Maybe that's Jalen Milroe. Bo Nix, he's a hard one to rank, but I do think he is going to be a potential Pro Bowl guy. I'm going to put potential here. I think he is kind of at his ceiling. I don't think he's going to get as much better as a guy like Caleb Williams is. But he's definitely a guy that can improve still, at least a little bit. He's got a great receiving core, a great head coach in Sean Payton. And they're a team that's going to have a pretty good year next year, I think. And Bo Nix is going to be leading it. If he has a great season, they might make it to the Super Bowl. I don't think that's crazy to say. But if he has a struggle season, he's going to bring the team down with him, I feel like. So he's really what that organization is depending on next year. Next up, we have Justin Herbert. I kind of want to throw him in the S tier. 6'5", accurate quarterback, good receiving core next year. A talented quarterback that can do everything. I think he's going to have a breakout year. I really do. Aaron Rodgers, I think he's a play starter, honestly. At this point in his career, I feel like he's going to be so washed next year that he might get benched for Mason Rudolph or Will Howard or Skylar Thompson. He's not someone that I would trust to lead my organization anymore. With his age, his struggles last year in New York, coming off a torn Achilles still, it's just not someone I would trust. Lamar is definitely in this S tier. I think he's the best quarterback in the NFL right now. Crazy dual threat that can do it on the ground. He's got a decent arm. 2-time MVP, I believe. Yeah. No one's really that close to him. Except for maybe Josh Allen. But Lamar definitely should have got that MVP last year instead of him. I believe that this is Kenny Pickett and then Dylan Gabriel and then that's Flacco. We don't have any Shador on here. But he would be hard to rank anyway. Kenny is a solid place starter. He's the worst on this tier, though. Dylan Gabriel, he's the worst quarterback that we've seen on here so far. And I'm not trying to take any shots at him, but he's not NFL ready yet. It's going to take him at least 2 years to get to maybe an okay starter level. I don't think he's at that level yet at all, though. A short lefty quarterback who doesn't have a crazy good arm. And they have a horrible receiving core in Cleveland, so if he starts any games, I don't think he's going to do very well. Joe Flacco, I still think, is a mid-starter, though. He's still a pretty solid quarterback, and I think he's better than Aaron Rodgers at this point. We've seen him come in at random teams for the past 2 seasons straight and do great. I think he can do that in Cleveland, too, if he's the day one starter. I'm not saying he's going to win games for them, but He might turn Jerry Jeudy into another good season. Joe Burrow, I think he has passed Mahomes. But for next season, I think Mahomes is going to take it back. Burrow has been one of the more consistent quarterbacks in the league. He's had great seasons over and over again so far throughout his career. And I think he's going to have another good one, but I do think Mahomes, I'm a little bit biased as a Chiefs fan, but I do think that he will kind of take back that QB2, QB3 role. CJ Stroud, he did take a step back last year, but I think he's going to take another step forward. I still think that these four are ahead of him, along with all these guys. But he had one decent year as a sophomore, and people are already saying he fell off and he's washed. That's not true at all. Daniel Jones, I still think that he could be a solid place starter. I'm going to put him ahead of both of them. I do think Anthony Richardson slightly has the edge, but Daniel Jones isn't bad. He could start 6 games for a team in one season, and it wouldn't be the end of the world. This right here, I don't know who that is. And then that's Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence, is he worse than Joe Flacco? I don't think so. I think he's better than Malik Willis too. But it's not that big of a gap. He's really struggled the last few years. He's not a good number 1 pick. He's definitely a bust. I don't think he's ever going to get up here. He could have a decent season and be up here like he was a few years ago, but I think this is more realistic for him next year. Next up, we have no clue. No clue. I am going to look up all these guys. Drake May. I'm not a Drake May guy. I think he is ahead of Malik Willis, but he is definitely mid. I do like the arm strength, but the accuracy is questionable. He's definitely a pocket passer. New England's going to be good next year because they have good receivers. They definitely upgraded their defense and their offensive line. But I'm not a huge Drake May guy. Josh Allen, I think he will be better than Mahomes next year. But Mahomes is going to make it closer. I think so. I hope so, and I think so. I think it's going to happen. Then these two down here, that looks like maybe Tyrod Taylor and Justin Fields. So we'll just call it both of them. Tyrod Taylor is the best place starter in the NFL. Like I was talking about him earlier. He can come in and start 5 games for an NFL team, and he'll still be solid. Dual threat, got great speed, decent arm, a good check down quarterback. Just a really solid guy. And then Justin Fields, I'm going to put him here above Bo Nix. I think he's going to have a great year. He doesn't have many good targets. I mean, Garrett Wilson's going to have an amazing year, I think. But outside of him, he doesn't have too many great threats. But Justin Fields is a dual threat star, honestly. Then down here, this got to be Jackson Dart. Where do we put Jackson Dart? I think he's going to be an okay backup. I think he's down here with Tyler Shuck. He's not great yet. I'm going to look up these few really quick. So I believe that this is Jacoby Brissett. I didn't know he played for the Cardinals. But he's definitely a solid place starter. These 3 all could start games, and you wouldn't have to worry that much. I think Sam Howell could too. Okay, so it looks like this is actually Anthony Richardson, so I don't know who this guy is. But I'll find out in a little bit. So this is actually Geno Smith right here. He is going back to his old quarterback, or his old coach, in Pete Carroll, but I think he's going to be a potential Pro Bowl guy. Nothing special with Geno. Him and Brock Bowers are going to be a good duo, but I don't think he's going to have a season like he did a few years ago. I think that was kind of a fluke year. I guess we never ranked Tua because he's right here. I just forgot what he looked like. Tua's a mid-starter, in my opinion. Tyreek and Jalen Waddle are great receivers. I feel like they kind of carry his stats a little bit. He still has them, but I think Tyreek might take a little bit of a step back. So Tua is definitely in the mid-starter tier. And then Tua's backup is Zach Wilson, so I guess that's who this is right after Tua. He's in the okay backup tier. I don't think he's ever going to get another long-term starting role in the NFL, but he's got a decent arm, and he can be a competent starter if he needs to be. But definitely not a long-term starter. So I guess this is Jameis Winston here. I don't know how I got him confused with Anthony